abuse this person,
Right.
tell them, and it damages their self-worth. It damages their self-esteem.
And
because
causes some
when you-
depression, I hear.
And it does. And it is a form of abuse,
Abuse, okay.
that is more damaging
Okay.
than the actual physical abuse,
Abuse.
because it sends a person into a tailspin of feeling less than, and picking yourself up after a physical altercation is one thing, but when you never get to pick yourself up because there's that constant grind against you in regards to
Right.
belittling and putting down, that's something altogether different.
That's probably something that, like you mentioned, nobody reports this, so it's more difficult to even see the signs unless they speak up, right? So how is there a way we can educate even the women out there to, here are the signs of, I'm not focusing on emotional abuse, here are the signs of emotional abuse. Is there something that they can put their head on?
I think that is a individual, it depends, it's not, it doesn't just depend on the woman. However, the more empowered a woman is, the more she's going to be aware of all the signs of emotional abuse. All of us here, if we walk into a situation and we hear somebody or we're around people who are negative, who want to try to put us down, who want to intimidate us, who want to coerce us, we're going to walk away from that. Because all of the women here, we're all empowered. We all have a good sense of ourselves.
Right.
There's women out there, though, however, that may, not all abusers initially come on that way. They come on first as, this adoring, I love you type of thing, and then it starts slow. And so, like you said, as soon as you start to hear those signs of, the negativity, the putting down, etc., these are the signs, all the negativity that comes from
something that makes you sad or depressed, or you feel depressed.
It's more complex than that. One thing I'm glad you pointed out, Jackie, it's when you use the word empowered. For a second, I said, "Oh gosh, I hope she defines what empowered means."
for Nigerian context.
Why do I say that? I say that because a lot of women think once you've had
empowerment,
the empowerment is equivalent to an education. It's not.
No,
it's not. Let's get it out there. The fact that you have a college education, a master's, a PhD, you can earn your money, that does not mean you're empowered.
That's right.
So what does it mean to be empowered?
See, to be empowered, it's to have knowledge. And to have knowledge in terms of domestic violence issue is to know when you're being abused, to know when something is, this is wrong. This is wrong. I gotta get out of this situation. This situation simply doesn't mean, all the educational A, B, C, and D, like college degrees and all that stuff. It's to have actual knowledge of what is right and what is wrong in a relationship, to understand what a relationship should feel like. Love should never hurt. Anytime love hurts,
I like that.
something wrong.
Yes.
It's simple.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt. Anytime it hurts, there's something wrong with that. It's time for you to take a step.
So it's not love then?
No, it's not. Definitely, you need to take a step back. And
But you talked about, you just described what empowered is, and since most of us and our audience, they're all Nigerian, men, I think, get intimidated when they hear that word empowerment. They're like, for example, Black Pumps, you're doing women empowerment. You're trying to tell our women how to fight them. So can you educate men what empowerment is?
To be an empowered woman, and like Chairman Adichie has said, that she is a card-carrying feminist.
Right.
I would like to say that even our great-grandparents, mothers, were all card-carrying feminists. It's just
like about women riots started.
Yes, about women riots, 1929, and then many more. Even our women before the Victorian age came into our cultures. We are really empowered women. You could easily call them feminists. A feminist or an empowered woman is simply a woman that knows her rights, that wants to be able to get equal pay for equal work. A woman that wants to be able to walk into a school situation with her young kid and be able to speak on behalf of her child without having to call dad. That's an empowered woman. An empowered woman is a woman that wants to be able to step out there, have a situation, and be able to deal with it.
I'd like
and I also want to say that the empowered woman also keeps her home.
Yes.
Yes.
We keep her home.
Yes.
That's an
She keeps
empowered
her
woman.
home.
Okay.
I think a simpler version of what you're saying is a woman who knows who she is and has the ability to stand in that without anybody interfering with, without having the threat of violence or outside negativity come against her. In other words, she can stand up to who she is and assert herself in that position. That's what gives her power. That's what gives her empowerment. And when men see women who are assured of themselves, who know who they are, and who aren't afraid to assert themselves in that, who aren't afraid to say, I'm empowered in who I am, they can get intimidated. They can take a step back and say, if they are not feeling empowered themselves, if they are not feeling self-assured, if they do not have good self-esteem, and they have a woman who does, or they're in a relationship with a woman who does, then they tend to lose more respect for themselves. They tend to begin to feel intimidated by this person who's standing, as you said, in her rightful position as a person, and that causes and creates some major issues that can turn into domestic violence.
Okay, and I also want to add that every abuser is doing everything out of love.
Out of love?
He abuses you, he's doing it because he loves you.
Well, that's really not love. That's their definition.
That's what they
in his mind.
He tells you that he's doing it because he loves you.
So I don't get that. I don't get it. How do you love someone and hate them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
And
I personally don't think it's love.
Like your hairstyle, I don't like your hairstyle.
Yes.
And because I love you, I want you to change your hairstyle into what I like.
You want me to be timid, right?
Yes. The way you dress, because other men are going to find you attractive.
I heard that.
Yes. So because I love you,
I don't like that red lipstick on you.
Yes. I don't
that she's defining the control of the power and control.
Okay.
You're defining the control piece of the power and control.
Yes.
And so that's
what it's all about, right? Domestic violence is all about control, right?
Yes. And nobody can treat you the way they do.
Yes.
Nobody can love you the way they do.
But there was something that you started to talk when you were doing your introduction. You talked about the cycle of domestic violence. What is the cycle?
Well, the cycle of abuse starts with a tension building phase, meaning that there's some tension in the relationship. There's whether it's sexual tension, emotional tension, whatever, the spokes on the wheel is, and I'll explain the spokes on the wheel, what I mean by that. But, so tension builds, and then there's the explosion, the actual act itself of abuse.
Wow.
And then after the abuse, there's what we call the honeymoon.
The honeymoon.
And the honeymoon
she explained that to me.
Yeah, the honeymoon is the,
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yes.
I need to understand where you're
go.
coming from.
I'm so sorry. And they're apologizing. They're trying to redeem themselves. And then the woman, she loves this man. So they get into this place together of bliss, what we call the honeymoon stage. And then as they move on, then the woman once again begins to be herself, feel that empowerment, and move into that position. And
For
the
them.
man once again begins to feel intimidated by that, insecure, that was your word.
So it's a cycle.
And then the tension builds, and then here comes the abuse itself, and so it's a cycle. It's a cycle of abuse. It's the tension building, the explosion, the honeymoon, the tension building, the explosion, the honeymoon, and that's the way
yeah.
women
And
live.
again, bringing it down to most of our African communities, and obviously I'm not going to speak for the entire Africa.
You'll
The
talk about
community I
Nigeria.
know is Nigeria, because we all know how many countries we have in Africa, 7 of them, right? But bringing it down to our community, and basically, just like Christy pointed out, I don't like your hairstyle, I don't like this.
I don't like your friends.
No, I don't like your friends. Keep your
I've heard
friends
that
away.
before. Yeah.
So that's basically how it all starts.
Yeah.
You have to be able to control the person. Maybe growing up, all the societal norms. Oh my gosh, you're a woman. Why are you dressed? Why am I seeing your legs? You know, why are you showing this part of your body? You shouldn't be doing this. Why are you doing this? There are too many whys.
Yeah.
Which simply leads to somebody trying to put you in a box, trying for you to behave in a particular way.
Right.
And when you question that, that's the beginning of your
No
problem.
problem. Yeah.
How dare you question that? So the question for me is, it's not just societal, but we also have to be careful, particularly in today's Nigeria. I'll give you an example, kind of a bit shocked, going through the social media on Nigeria, and I saw two very interesting articles. One was about Lagos State University and their policy on dress code.
Oh.
The second was about, I think there's another university, Babcock University, I hope I pronounced it rightly.
Babcock.
Babcock University.
Is that in Nigeria too?
Nigeria, again, dress code. When you go through all those dress codes, 80-90% is only for the women. So I keep wondering, why are you teaching our young men that they have to control women in that way, in terms of what they wear, what they're able to wear, and what they're not able to wear?
But see,
But then look at it. Understand that that's how the young ones are taught control. As a woman, I should be able to tell you what to do. And then when you refuse to do that, I'm going to have to do everything within my power to stop you from disobeying me.
But I think you're bringing up the point of, you know, us being in a male-dominant society.
Right.
It's hierarchical.
Yes.
It starts at the top, the
Yes.
very top. And our fathers and our forefathers, et cetera, as far back, you know, even in tribal communities,
yes.
the man dominates.
The men don't, but that doesn't give anybody the right to abuse.
Exactly.
I think it's two different concepts, right? It's still a male dominant society. That's why we're trying to get empowered. But I shouldn't say most, but a lot of men do not abuse their women.
A lot of men do not abuse their women because they understand that when a woman has a will, given a free will to choose, the society gains. Both the family, both the man, and the extended family. Everybody basically benefits from a strong woman
And happy woman.
and a happy woman.
But just bringing it back to real domestic violence, right? So I get the point about the dress code, and I thought you were going to refer to, there was one, I don't keep quiet on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
He talked about, it's a pastor, he talked about how women dresses, you know, how sexy, and I'm like, what is sexy? What does that word mean? You know, the fact that somebody is wearing something and exposing herself does not give anybody a right to abuse them, sexually or otherwise.
That's very true.
You know, just like you said, you don't keep quiet on Facebook. Most of us here, we don't. I remember an ongoing battle on Facebook that took me back to even people I went to college with many years ago. The argument was, how short a dress should somebody wear? And so these are lawyers, these are doctors, some of the women, some of the men, but they still believe that whatever a woman puts on attracts whatever happens to
to
her.
them.
So
Right.
she
I
puts it on
think it's-
herself.
Yeah.
I was just
Yeah,
but
I think it's a bigger issue here. I think that the dress, the way a woman dresses and the way men might respond to that is just simply symbolic
Yes.
of the whole idea that men feel that women provoke them to
yes.
domestic violence.
Yeah.
And so it's you know, but again, like you said, it's not a matter of, I mean, just because of the way a woman a woman dresses, the way a woman, whatever it is that she might say or do, act, behave, think, it doesn't give you the right to violate
touch anybody,
her physically or in any other way, emotionally, physically. It doesn't give you the right to abuse.
But see, the other thing is like the reason we started this conversation is because, and we'll get to it, you know, I think it's all myth. Somebody said this is why domestic violence occurs, the woman is the cause, right? And then we all sit and say, what are you talking about? But you will also notice that even women agree with him.
Yes.
So, and that's where, so it's not just a man thing, it's also women. They agree. Like I have to read it because there's so many out there. This is Nigeria. It says they did an interview and says up to 43% of women thought that the wife beating could be justified on the grounds matters like, listen to this, burning the food, arguing with the husband, going out without asking permission, neglecting the children, and refusal to have sexual intercourse. 43% of women think that this is the cause of domestic violence.
Oh, that this is justification.
Justification. Justification.
I understand when I hear such statistics, the first thing that occurs to me is not necessarily to blame the women that are making these statements. It's not even going to whether you're empowered, educated or not. But the first question that comes to my head is simply, what kind of society have they grown up in?
Well, they're growing up in Nigeria.
No, not just simply Nigeria.
This is Nigerian statistics.
Yeah, which part of Nigeria have they grown up in? Because when you look at the societal pressure, the societal norms that have affected the way these women are raised. If you're sitting with a mom that tells you, you know what, as a woman, you have to cook, make sure you don't burn the food. When you burn the food, your husband is going to slap you and the blame is going to be yours. If that's the kind of mother you've been exposed to, then you're going to think that way.
But you don't even have to add the last piece that if you burn the food, you will get beat. Just saying alone that it's not good to if you burn the food, there will be consequences.
Yes.
Creates the mentality that allows this 43% to think that this is okay. I get it. This is the consequence of burning the food. This is the consequence of my dress. This is the consequence of going out and staying out till 10 o'clock with my girlfriends. I get it now, Mom.
But because this is why some women don't talk about it. They don't complain about domestic violence. They look at it as the norm.
Because they do.
Yes, they do. Some women accept it, and some women think, well, that's what am I supposed to do? It happened to my mom, it happened to my aunt, it happened to grandma. So it's normal. That is their normal.
But there's other reasons that women don't complain about domestic violence. If they have nowhere to go, if they have no economic stability in their life, if they have children at home,
Let's hold on to that because we'll come back to that.